Telling him not to counterpunch.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
All right, welcome back from that quick break, guys. This is Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Yes, we have our on-air guest who will be joining us via the Zoom platform. I will be speaking with one man who is renowned in sports. As Honor Sirawo will be joining us via the Zoom platform as we look at critical issues surrounding Swan this morning. Also joining us from Lagos is Toby, who of course is known for his, his outspoken credentials. And Toby Ola will join us via Zoom also in Lagos. Let's see how this will pan out this morning. We want to look at Swan and the challenges of Swan, the Sports Writers Association in Nigeria. But before then, let's take a look at some of the news, that of Nigeria's, trials, national trials ongoing in Asaba, as well as to also participate massively for the All-African Games that is coming up on the 8th of March. National javelin champion Samuel Kure has set a new personal best record to win men's javelin event for the first time in 5 years at this year's Athletics Federation of Nigeria National Trials in Delta State. For Kure, he threw 77.45 meters to place first position ahead of Lawrence Onyejiaka, who recorded a throw of 66.97 meters, a personal best to finish second, while Kenechukwu Ezielfo placed third with a season best of 62.33 meters. An excited Kure told a correspondent that he believes his performance in Asaba has offered him hope of doing better in this season's activities. And of course, bigger preparation for the All-African Games. Rest of where we find ourselves, one thing certain is Nigeria, we have contingents that will represent them at this year's All-African Games. But away from that, I was still talking about some athletics this morning. Let's move further as, not the cherry news at all for Blessing Okabare, as Texas-based Eric Lira admitted supplying performance-enhancing substances to athletes, including Nigeria's Blessing Okabare, who has been banned from 2021 Olympic Games. If you don't recall that particular one was staged in Tokyo. Was sentenced to a 3 months in prison, 1 year of supervised release, and forfeiture of $16,410, equivalent to 15,113 euros. Now, this is the sentence handed down to the American therapist Eric Lira for supplying doping substances to Olympic athletes. Now, the sentence also was handed down within the week after Lira himself pleaded guilty to supplying drugs to enhance the performance of Olympic athletes during the, including the suspended Nigerian athlete Blessing Okabare. According to a report by the U.S. authorities and the AFP, Eric Lira is a neuropathic therapist based in El Paso in Texas. In May last year, he became the first person to be convicted under a U.S. law introduced in the wake of the Russian state-sponsored Olympic doping scandals. In 2020, an act was initiated and it was named after Russian whistleblower Grigor Rodchenkov. It allows the U.S. authorities now to prosecute individuals involved in international doping fraud conspiracy. Lira admitted supplying Okabare with drugs in preparation for the Tokyo Olympic Games, and the Nigerian athlete, of course, Blessing herself, pulled out from the women's 100-meter semi-finals shortly before the Games after it emerged she had tested positive for human growth hormone test in Slovakia. So she was subsequently banned for 10 years. So that's the story. That's the story. For those of you who have been following this particular story, you will know clearly that when that happened back then in 2020, that's 2021, when the Olympic game was staged, Blessing was to participate in the 100-meter semi-finals, and she was suspended because of the act of doping, act of test, the result that emanated from those tests. And of course, it took her for like 1 year for her to be, for the genuinity of the matter to be verified by the Athletics Integrity Unit that claimed she had, involved herself with some, anti-doping issues. And from then she was suspended because she did not plead guilty of the crime. And she also did not cooperate with the Athletics Integrity Unit. And so they elongated the suspension from 5 years to 11 years before it was taken back to 10 years. So right now, after the drugs, for these outlets, and one of the names, on the list of leader that he has supplied drugs to is our own Blessing of Calvary. And so this is not sharing at all. And I hope that our guests, as they come in, maybe we'll start with this and we'll try to see how far they can also react, to this particular one. But let's leave athletics now and let's move to cricket, where Nigeria is becoming a powerhouse when it comes to cricket activities in Africa. And I can tell you that ahead of the 5th Nigerian Cricket Federation Women's T20I Invitational Tournament, past winners, Nigeria, Rwanda, are in high spirit over the inclusion of Tanzania, who are now the highest ranked team in the tournament. The organizing committee of the tournament earlier this week unveiled the East African country to participate in the four-nation event scheduled to hold from February, that is today, to March 8th at the Tafawa Balewa Cricket Oval in Lagos. Ranked 19th in the world, the Tanzania women's team would be making their first appearance at the event that has shared its winning so far between Nigeria and with Rwanda winning the second and the third. So who gets to win this one? I mean, it looks like this is where the draw will be, because Tanzania also aren't a lesser team as compared to Rwanda and Nigeria. But while the rivalry might be up for a new challenge, both countries, that's Nigeria and Rwanda, are in the possibility of testing their prowess ahead of the All-African Games. And like I said, part of these preparations geared towards the All-African Games, where we're going to see massive showcase from at about 30 in Ghana. And basically, for Team Nigeria, we are prepared for the task. We have a lot. Cricket, we're going to have a cricket team participate in these East African Games. We're going to have a tennis team. We're going to have a lot of sports discipline. These are areas of competitive advantage, and that's most important, when it comes to preparation for our Olympic Games. But let's move on now and let's look at other trending stories in sports. This is now to handball, where a lot is happening, and my friend Kuti Dari, just called in this morning to inform us of the preparation of the team. And I can tell you categorically that the under-18 and under-20 team yesterday had a comfortable display, and they also smashed their opponents in grand fashion. I will start with the under-18 team, how they defeated their opponent in the International Handball Trophy African Zone 3 competition ongoing in Ghana. They started brilliantly yesterday, completely outclassed Togo, 50 to 16 points to get into the finals of the Trophy African Zone 3 tournament, where they are also expected to defend the title. Aliyu Rufayu was voted the man of the MVP of the match for inspiring a great performance for the team. Now, for the other team, the Nigerian under-20 handball team, led by Coach Fidelis Obi, they will face a very stiff opponent in Benin Republic, and they earned an emphatic 47-20 points. Hopefully, they will face another opponent, Cote d'Ivoire, today to see if they can also get to the finals. If they do that, that will be patient, getting to see chance in the finals. And of course, for under 17 teams, it looks like the 18 team, it looks like they're going to get this particular one. But let's see what comes of or becomes of our under 20 team in handball. James Kuti was the man of the match for the under 20 team. And I'm still talking about court matters here. We look at what is happening outside handball, and this time we're still in the court. It's the Afro basketball, where we saw some charming, activities in recent time. Yesterday, the news broke that regardless of the funding challenge and the paucity of funds, our senior national team, the D Tigers, have arrived in Monastir, Tunisia, the venue of this year's FIBA Afro Basket 2025 qualifiers, and they will begin their campaign for a ticket against Libya in an adjusted fixture that we see the former African champions play the game later today. Now, the team had a last-minute rush, granted clearance to travel after it seems that lack of funds would have stopped the team from being part of this qualifier, and it would have also had some negative effect on the country. But the sports minister came in, John Owaneno, he has given the consent for the MBBF leadership to do all that to ensure that the G Tigers participate in the qualifiers with an assurance that the necessary funds will be approved and also released, in 3 weeks to pay for the flight tickets, logistics, and everything that will ensure that we have a comfortable qualification. While appreciating and applauding the support of the sports ministry and especially the Minister of Sports Development in his usual manner of thoughtfulness and thoroughness in ensuring that the team makes the trip to the qualifiers, even if it was late, the MBBF President Engineer Ahmadu Musa Kida and his team rose to the challenge and ensured that all is done for the team to depart at a short notice and save Nigeria from huge embarrassment locally and internationally. Meanwhile, ahead of the game today, the MBBF boss assured all Nigerian basketball fans that despite the showy preparations, the Nigerian boys would put up their best to ensure the country, is proud of the activities of the boys there. And the best thing is, or the ultimate quest is to pick the qualification ticket. If we qualify, we will be part of the AfroBasket come 2025. Don't forget, Nigeria D Tigers are the best team in the continent of Africa. They lost out from picking the ticket to be part of this year's Olympic. I'm not sure they will want to do the same again, not being part of the AfroBasket. So all is set for what is to come, a showdown today against Libya, and that is what counts. We'll take away the challenge of logistics, not being part, not arriving there early, but let's believe that now that we are in Tunisia, I'm sure the boys will get to talk with us. We'll speak with some of the boys in preparation for this particular one, or maybe tomorrow on our show, we'll look at how far and where they are right now. Hopefully, Mosef Queen will join us to look at basketball issues and also take us through. We hope to get more facts from what is happening live, in Monastir, Tunisia, precisely. And to the NBA, a lot has happened. Truly, a lot has happened in recent time. Don't forget that just on Monday, Tuesday, we saw the NBA East and West. The big boys game, where the Eastern Conference, led by Giannis Antetokounmpo, won that particular one for the guys in the East with a massive point of 221 there, clearly outclassing LeBron James Western Conference guys. So it's all about the NBA. But right now, games resumed yesterday night, and that's for us the early hours of this morning in Nigeria, and a lot of games there. We saw close to 12 games played in the early hours of this morning. A lot of results panning out there. But one thing I can tell you is that the Golden State Warriors were able to get past Los Angeles Lakers in a fine fashion. I think in 130, what a way to start, to continue where they stopped last week. So more of NBA news comes away this weekend, but we'll get you updated as to what is happening in the NBA and how the teams are preparing for that showdown. So let's talk tennis now, and we'll start from the home scene where a young Fejo Ayetuma cruised into the quarterfinals of the ongoing ITTF World Tennis Junior J30 in Abuja, defeating Bisola Ogunkolade 6-2, 6-2. It ended that particular one in the female singles. It's been reported the National Tennis Federation event is the second leg of the tour, and the tour, which started on February 19, is expected to end this Sunday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. So for Ayetoma, he kept the pressure, did so well, and we can see clearly that a lot is being planned. She wants to maybe get her hands on that particular one. 6-2. It looks like she will get all the way to win that one. She's not done yet, because she will next play Khadijat Mohammed, who defeated Ettore Bassi 6-3, 6-1 to advance to the quarter-final stages. In another singles round of 16, Blessing Otu also had a good show against Adousi 6-1, 6-2. Tolowa Shale Ogumbiade humbled Farahi Adam 6-1, 6-1, and Khadijat Mohammed overpowered Ettore Bassi 6-3, 6-1. Still talking tennis, let's move now to the continent of Africa, where Africa's only surviving team in International Table Tennis World Championship, Egypt, yesterday exited the tournament after an impressive outing in Busan, South Korea. The Egyptians, ladies led by six-time African champion Dina Meshrev, worked their way to the second round after finishing second in their group, which included France, Czech Republic, Ukraine, and Croatia. And now to professional tennis, we are in the Rio Open in Brazil. Clearly, we saw the British number one, Cameron Norrie, swept aside Thomas Barros in a 6-1, 6-1 there to reach the Rio Open quarterfinals. And the defending champion needed just a minute over an hour yesterday to beat the Chilean, whose serve was broken 6 times in the one-sided contest. For Norrie, he hit 21 winners in his victory on the clay and will play Brazilian Thiago Sibot wide net. So let's see how far that goes. In Doha, Czech teenager Jakub Mensik, this young lad has done so well in recent time, defeated Andy Murray and then came back again to produce another classical display of setting world number 5 Andrei Rublev 6-4, 7-6 in that particular second round in Qatar Open quarterfinals. And it looks like this man is a new block now. He's 18 years of age. He hits 10 aces to secure a first win against a top 5 player to set up a semi-final against a 37-year-old Frenchman, Game on Field. He has defeated Dimore. He has defeated a certain Andrei Rublev, who of course was very classical. But then against Game on Field, how will he cope? Time will tell. Let's see. But in the female race, we saw Serena 60 achieve the biggest comeback of her career as she reached the Dubai Tennis Championship semi-finals alongside with Iga Swiatek. She set a 5-1 down against reigning champion and she was able to get past Marketa Vondrousova, but recovered to end a 2-6, 7-6, 6-2 victory there. For Iga Swiatek, she also defeated Zheng Guowen, the lady who got to the finals of the Australian Open 6-3, 6-2, but Coco Gauff was knocked out after losing a 2-6, 6-4, 6-2 to Anna Kaleskaya. In her match, the 33-year-old Romanian saved 6 match points and she will next play Jasmine Paoli in the semi-finals. And let's hope that she will be rewarded a walkover if she continues to achieve more glorious. But for now, it looks like having pulled the chestnut out of fire, she can still achieve a bigger event on this year's Open. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we will have football matters and hopefully our guest will be joining us. Let's look at some of the intricacies surrounding the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a jiffy.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sport, commentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Atlantic Television Network and it's Sports Talk, where we look at electrifying stories popping out from the sporting world. Earlier, we talked about a lot of stories from cricket down to tennis, from tennis to athletics, from athletics we talked about handball, also talked about basketball, and a lot, especially as Nigeria prepares for the 13th edition of the All-African Games to be hosted in Ghana. And so it's time to talk football matters here. A lot is happening in recent times, a lot of activities, and there's no dulling moment when it comes to football activities from Nigeria to the continent and to the global scene. So just take it cheapy, relax, because we have a lot to ride you on this morning. We hope our guests will join us so we can look at some critical matters, you know, revolving around the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, about why they do. Let's still bring you up to speed with some of the happenings in football, and we'll start from the local scene, where the Nigerian Premier Football League will commence. But this time, it is not the bigger league; it is the junior league here, and of course, the finals will come up tomorrow. But we have the finals to be staged in Benin City with Rivers United and Remo Stars opening the title deciding championship at 2 p.m. at the Samuel Ogbumije Stadium tomorrow. Now, this is the junior league, not the Nigeria Premier Football League main league. And the second fixture of the day will be between Plateau United and Katsina United. It promises to be a carryover of rivalry in the senior cadre when Rivers United, winner of the South-South zone, will take on Ikene Billionaires, Remo Stars. 5 teams had emerged from the zonal qualifiers, which were held in Lafia, Kaduna, Enugu, Port Harcourt, and Ado Ekiti. Those 5, namely, are Plateau United, Katsina United, Rangers International, Remo Stars, and Rivers United. These youth teams will participate in the MPFL Youth League tomorrow. And the man who is at the helm of affairs in organizing the league, Pastor Emeka Inyama, who, of course, is preparing and ensuring that there is no vacuum or no stone left unturned, said that the idea of this youth league was consistent with FIFA's developmental policies and strides, which require that every club in the elite cadre of the leagues in member federation have to, turn up and also prepare their junior teams. All the 5 teams will play each other over the next 6 days to determine the winner with the highest point. So from tomorrow, we'll see how far. It will be a round-robin encounter, and then the winner will emerge. But let's take a leap now to the preparation of our Nigerian team in CAF, and of course, obviously, Rivers United stand tall ahead of the Confederation of African Football game to be played this weekend. Well, we heard that Abdulrazak Ahmed from Libya will be the referee for the CAF Confederation Cup Group C match, the 5 tie between Academica Patrouillis Club de Liboto from Angola and Rivers United of Nigeria. Now, the host, the Pride of Nigeria, will on Sunday play and tackle the Angolans at their ground there. The kickoff time is 5 p.m. and the man Ahmed will be assisted by a compatriot Altia Essa, assistant referee 1, and Alayit Mohamed Muji as assistant referee 2, while Mbrok Mohamed will serve as the 4th official for this particular game. The match will be commissioned by Fernando Alexandra Massive from Mozambique. So these are the outline. This is how far it's been planned already, for the Rivers United, who of course will be departing today to Angola to prepare for that game on Sunday. Meanwhile, after missing out on the Women's Olympic football tournament for will face another task against fierce rivals Cameroon for our spot at this year's edition of the Olympic Games in Paris. Now, this crucial to get two-legged tie set for February 23 and 26 stand as the penultimate hurdle to securing a coveted spot in Paris 2024. The Falcons eliminated Ethiopia in the second round to get to this round, where they will battle the Lionesses, who beat Uganda 3-2 on aggregate. In the final qualifiers, they will also hope to do so well, because the last time this same team stopped them from being part of the Beijing 2008 Olympics. The first leg of the encounter will take place at the Stade de la the stadium in Douala there in Cameroon today, while the Confederation of African Football have appointed Uganda Shamiral Nabada as the center referee. So we expect our ladies to go all out there. 21 players have been invited to camp. Go out there, get a comfortable result. You can come home at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium next week, and we'll consolidate that. So who says that the Super Falcons cannot achieve a victory or even get a win the Lionesses at home? Well, we'll keep our finger crossed, but Randy Wardrum, one man whose deal has been fully negotiated, and he will return now to also be on the sideline as he drives the tactical affairs of the team today against the Lionesses. So 5 p.m. we'll keep our finger crossed to see how this game will pan out, and fully we'll come back here again to also report the result of the game between the Super Falcons and the Lionesses next. But when we talk about our female national team, let's also talk about the senior national team. Just after the African Cup of Nations, what next now? We hear that a high-profile friendly between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the world champions Argentina will be played at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in the United States of America, and it will come up next month, 26th of next month precisely. So March is promises to be a hard-biting one, because finalists of the AFCON playing against the world champion, it will be a tough cracker if you ask me there. It promises to be mind-blowing. So we'll keep our finger crossed to the 26th of March when this game will come alive. And then for Nigeria, this will be obviously the first outing after losing to Cote d'Ivoire. And Argentina, of course, they have met a lot of time. Argentina having upper hand against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But one thing very important is that we're going to see how the both sides will cope against each other. This preparation is going to be helpful as we prepare to play South Africa in the qualifiers for the Africa Cup of Nations or for the World Cup precisely. See, bringing you some important football matters here. Let's talk about what is happening outside the shores of Africa. And this time around, not a cherry news if you are a fan of Dani Alves. You know why? Because a court in Spain has found the former Barca and Brazilian player Dani Alves guilty of raping a woman in a Barcelona nightclub. He has been sentenced to 4.5 years in prison, and of course, he's one of the most decorated players in history. At 40, he's been arrested and prosecuted. Though he denied sexually assaulting the woman in the early hours of December 2022, his lawyers had asked for his acquittal and said that she would appeal against the verdict. Alves played more than 400 times for Barcelona, winning 6 league titles and 3 Champions League across 2 spells with the club. He was also part of the Brazilian 2022 World Cup squad that won that particular. Okay, they never won, but he was part of that particular one. He has also won trophies playing for Sevilla, Juventus, PSV, and he's among Brazil's most capped internationals with 126 appearances. You know, that's how far this man can be. A very, very rugged, you know, fullback in his playing days. Unfortunately, he has encountered a lot of difficulty after that rape saga. But we hope that everything will be fine. We get to see how far he'll go in for it, and then hopefully Dani Alves will be back. But we hear that Neymar also want to leverage on that by dishing out some amount of money to the family of the lady for what has transpired, and hopefully we'll talk about that. But Toni Kroos has you know, come out of retirement, you know, to play for Germany as they prepare for the Euros this year. You recall that earlier he has announced that he will be retiring from football, but at 34 he still feels he's eligible to be selected for the upcoming friendly game against France and the Netherlands in preparation for the Euros coming up soon. He has played 106 times for Germany, done after the Euro 2020, you know, when they were eliminated from the last 16 in the eventual finalist England. But somehow he has also struggled in recent years, and so he decided to hang his boot. But right now the man looks like he's going back to take that boot, and they're coming back, you know, to play. But let's see how far what becomes of him at 34. If he still has what it takes to display. Who says that Toni Kroos, having seen what he's doing with the Real Madrid side, you can see add some flavor and spices in the tactical prowess of the German national team. But away from that now, as we prepare to round off the show this morning, let's talk club football now, and let's look at all that played out yesterday night in the UEFA Europa Cup, where AC Milan overcame a spirited Renault 5-3 on aggregate despite a 3-2 loss yesterday to reach the Europa League last 16, where they are joined by fellow former European champion Benfica. For Benfica themselves, they also saw French opposition as a goalless draw was a good result for them to lose, sending them to the next round of the qualification after they had played the 2-1 win, you know, in Lisbon a fortnight ago. Now, let's look at other results emanating from the UEFA Europa League. Qarabağ went to the quarterfinals on aggregate 6-5. It ended in that particular one. Renault also are through to the round of 16, you know, encounter. Okay, I think they lost to AC Milan. I talked about that. CS Freiburg also somehow looked like a team that will be on. They've also through against Lens. 3-2 it ended. Benfica, I did mention that they are also through, you know, to that one. Marseille are also through against Shakhtar Donetsk. 5-3 it ended, and Roma are also through after they played at 2-2 aggregate scoreline. But Roma won via penalty 4-2. It ended. Galatasaray and Sparta Prague. They have Galatasaray have resisted the tournament because they lost 6-4 on aggregate to Sparta Prague. Sporting Lisbon also had it ongoing for them against Young Boys, and so we're going to see the last 16 draws today in the UEFA headquarters in Lyon. And so from there, we now know the teams that we're playing against in the round of 16. But just as we wrap up here, to the business side of sport, the no longer news that Jim Ratcliffe is now the new owner of Manchester United, and his 25% stake with the club is really, yes, a minority shareholder, but somehow it looks like he has enough to give. And the man is trying to change the narrative of Manchester United. And he has come out to say that 11 players from the team will be leaving the side at the end of the season. And he has signed to overhaul the first team squad, repackage them, and ensure that they play brilliantly. So who are these players that will be cleared? We do not know for now, but we heard that the likes of Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Rafael Varane, Christian Eriksen, Victor Lindelof, Jadon Sancho, Donny van de Beek, Brandon Williams, and Facundo Pellistri are all available to exit the scene in Manchester United setup and possibly get new fresher players to fill in the vacuum and recreate the team to a winning side. This is a dream of one man who just bought the club, Jim Ratcliffe. But of course, when we come tomorrow for Sports Extraordinary, we'll also look at what is happening in football. A lot of games will be played today. Games start today in club football in Europe, and tomorrow we'll also have more time to take you through all that has happened. This is how we'll end the show today. But join us again next week, Monday, when we come for another moment of sports talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Ekpo Temple is my name. What a joy to say thank you so much for being part of the show this week. Hopefully next week we'll come back pump and pageantry as we prepare for what is to come. A lot will happen this week, and trust us here on Atlantic Television Network to bring you the best of the best, because this is the home of sports, and we're always glad to deliver when called upon. Have a lovely weekend, but stay out of trouble. Remember, it is one game football without violence. Bye-bye.
Telling him not to counterpunch.